The next technique I want to share with you is coming from the yoga tradition. It's called internal locks, and these are the next level of yoga that you often do not find in a drop-in yoga class. Even if you've been to many yoga classes, you may never have actually practiced these internal locks. There are 3 locks. There's the root lock, in which you're engaging the muscles of the pelvic floor, the genitals, and the anus. Then there's the abdominal lock, in which you're engaging the muscles and massaging the internal organs in the abdominal cavity. Then there is the throat lock, where you're touching the chin down to that notch between the collarbones and activating this thyroid gland here, which is responsible for our metabolism. It's also pulling on the brainstem. When you tuck the chin down, you're having an impact on your brain. Now, these locks, although they seem simple, have an incredible impact on your endocrine system. And that endocrine system, as you remember back from the talk before, is what incorporates the glands that distribute the hormones throughout the whole body. And that distribution of hormones impacts every function within your entire being. So by working with these 3 simple physical internal locks, especially the root lock, that's lifting the muscles of the pelvic floor, genitals, and anus, you're bringing more blood flow into these muscles that lead to erection. This is incredibly important. Not only that, but it's one of the essential tools for learning how to control your ejaculation. One of the major complaints I get from the men that I work with, and from all the research that's been done with men about sexuality, and even a huge complaint from women and partners of men, whether it be a man or a woman, is that premature ejaculation. Ejaculating within a few seconds to just a minute or even just a couple minutes, and the partner didn't even get started and you've already finished because you've come too early. So learning how to do what are called the root lock, the abdominal lock, and the throat lock is going to bring you to a level of mastery over your hormones and your erection. And it's going to help you last as long as you want to in bed. Instead of getting to that point where you're going to come and you don't want to come, but you can't stop it, learning that root lock is one of the most powerful ways to control your ejaculation and to give you a stronger erection by getting more blood flow into that area. And it's all about blood flow for the erection. So we have in the bonus section all of the teachings about these internal locks. And what really makes them powerful is when you incorporate them into your breathing practice. So we talked about the even breath, just inhale and exhale. You're not going to do any internal locks there. But when you do the square breath, that's the perfect time to bring in the internal locks, because you do these locks when you're holding your breath. And remember that when you hold your breath, you're creating more nitric oxide in the body to open the blood vessels, including in the penis. And when you hold the breath, you slow down the messages that go from your body into your brain, and you create a sense of calmness, stability. But it also helps to send these hormones throughout the body by activating the different glands, working with the different glands. This is important on a level that is hard to put into words, except that I can say that this is really the highest level of all the practices that I can teach you. So it's so essential to bring these internal locks into your life. You can just focus on the root lock, which in the West, there's something similar called Kegels. And you may have heard of this as one of the tools that you can use to address erectile dysfunction, because you're working with contracting the muscles of the genitals, anus, and perineum, and getting that blood flow into this area. And again, stopping premature ejaculation. Kegels is the Western variation of what the yogis call the root lock. So this is step number 1 in terms of what you need to do to overcome premature ejaculation. And it's one of the most important steps to leading to mastery of your erection. So when you do your breathing, start to bring in the root lock at least. And the good news is you don't even have to be focusing on a breathing practice. To do the root lock, you can simply contract the muscles of the perineum, anus, and genitals. And what I mean by that is, imagine you're pulling those muscles up, or imagine you're going to the bathroom. You don't have to imagine. Every time you go to the bathroom to urinate, stop your flow of urination. Stop the urine from coming out of your penis. All those muscles are the muscles that you want to work with in this root lock and in the Kegel practice. And you do that stopping of the urination 3 to 5 times every time you go to the bathroom to urinate. That's going to start to train these muscles. But you can do it when you're watching TV, reading a book, driving a car. Just start lifting those muscles, hold them for a moment, then release. And what you can do is simply breathe with it. So as you inhale, lift, and as you exhale, let everything relax. And it's very important to relax as well, because we don't want to create excess tension down there. We want things to be relaxed. It's the relaxation that allows the blood to flow into the penis. So make sure that you inhale, lift those muscles, same thing as when you're going to the bathroom and stopping that flow of urine. And as you exhale, relax everything. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it simply is as you exhale, lift the muscles, and as you inhale, relax. And there's 2 different ways. Either way, I would experiment with both and see which one works better for you. And you can do this any time of the day. I had a teacher who told me that if you can lift those muscles and keep them lifted for 30 minutes, you will master your ejaculation. And that's exactly what happened. It took me about a month. And anytime I had a free moment, I was inhaling and holding. And then I would breathe and just keep those muscles lifted and breathe naturally. But it's like training this muscle or any muscle in your body. It takes a little bit of time, but with persistence and perseverance, you gain mastery over these muscles, and therefore you gain mastery over your ejaculation response. So whenever you're having a moment free or doing something else that doesn't require full focus, work on this root lock. Each time you breathe, lift. Each time you exhale, relax. That's step 1. Step 2 is lift that muscle up, all those muscles up, and hold for as long as you can. Then finally, on another exhalation, let everything relax. So you get the point. Practice this every day and you will become a master of your erection. Now this abdominal lock, we've already talked about the root lock, the abdominal lock, where we're pulling the stomach muscles in and up, creating a vacuum in the stomach. And you're gonna have to see the bonus video to get the full tutorial and instruction on how to do it. But for now, I want you to understand that that's how you can also pull the energy out of the genitals and lift it up. Because if we let that energy just grow there, it's gonna eventually want to explode out into ejaculation. So what we do is every day we pull the stomach muscles in and up in the way that's taught in the tutorial, and this helps to circulate the energy up out of the genitals, and it helps to massage all the internal organs, which is very important for the health of your well-being. Not only that, but it creates a fire in digestion, so it helps you to burn more calories, it helps you to lose weight and lose fat in the belly. When we do this abdominal suction, we are literally pulling the stomach in and up, and at the same time, that helps to draw the energy, the sexual energy, out of the genitals and lift it up. It goes into this area in the chest, which is great for all of the lungs and the heart, and it even sends that energy up into the brain. Now, energy is something that not everybody gets an understanding of yet, but do know that every cell is energy. So this is science. This isn't just some yoga mythology. Every cell is energy. It has a plus and a minus charge. And we have our sexual energy, which is our strongest energy. So this is why we do the abdominal suction, for all the health reasons at the physical level of massaging the internal organs, increasing digestion, and so on. But it's also working with that sexual energy and moving it out of the genitals, because we don't want to get what's called blue balls. And if you've ever had sexual stimulation and not ejaculated, you get this tension in your genital area, and that tension converts into tension and emotions and mind. This is something we definitely don't want, and there's a yogic way to relieve yourself of this tension. And when we talk about ejaculation control, I'll go much deeper into this topic. So let's guide you to that bonus video and start practicing these internal locks. So the final lock is the throat lock. We've talked about the root lock and the abdominal lock. Now, the throat lock, as I mentioned before, is touching the chin to that notch here between the collarbones, and that helps to massage this area of the neck and activate the thyroid gland, balance the function of the thyroid gland, which is responsible for our metabolism. For those people that may have trouble balancing their weight, This is an excellent way to work with the thyroid gland directly. Not only that, but each time you tuck your chin down, you're stretching the spinal cord, and that pulls on the base of the brain. And this has an impact on the glands in your brain, specifically the pituitary and pineal glands. Remember, the pituitary gland is the master gland that controls the distribution of hormones from all of the other glands. So by simply doing this with your breathing, you do it with breath. You inhale and hold and tuck the chin to the chest. Then you lift the head and exhale, either through the mouth or through the nose. And on exhalation, when the lungs are empty at the end of exhalation, touch the chin to the chest again. Then when you need to breathe, lift the head, inhale, and all of this is explained in great detail in that bonus video for the throat lock. But know that when you do this throat lock, you are balancing your hormones and your endocrine system function. It's extremely powerful. It's not going to make you stronger physically. It's not going to make you have a better body, but it's going to balance the overall function of all the hormones. And when we have balanced hormones in the body, then we can get that strong erection.